What's up, dude?
Not a whole lot. How you
You just
been?
hit record. Good. Real good. So
Yeah, good.
I reached out to you just because I have Zoom Premium for like another 5 or 6 days. So I figured, let's go meet up with the homies and film some stuff. And
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
we haven't talked in quite a while actually. We've both kind of hit the busy period of life.
Very much so. Yeah. Been busy with work. My kiddo got a 3-year-old, and yeah, everything's kind of taken a backstage lately.
Yeah, I got a 3-year-old too and a 1.5-year-old. So
Yeah, God
we
bless
got
you.
our we got our hands full.
My kid's an
Yeah.
angel. I can't imagine having a difficult child and um, just having a good kid. I don't know if I want to. So God bless you.
My second one turned out super easy. The first one, she's
Yeah.
a she's a handful, but she's the best.
Yeah, they all
Yeah.
are. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Are you gonna teach your kids this stuff that we're doing?
Yeah, I'd like to. I honestly think about that sometimes. I'm like, do I want to share it with her early on and like normalize it?
Hmm.
Or do I want her to like turn 13 and be like, hey, you can be a wizard if you want and like really like wow her with it, you know? Because like I feel like nobody wants to do the job that their dad does, right? Like they always want to do something different. So I'm like, should I keep that hidden for a little bit? Then she's like really encouraged to do it or just normalize. I don't know what the
I knew
best
I knew some of those
path
kids
is.
that looked up to their parents a lot though, and
Yeah,
whatever they did. My both my kids kind of always want to do what I do.
that's
So
awesome.
I don't know if you've already asked them, but I've already been asking them. Do you remember who your last dad was? I wasn't always your dad, right? Who was your last dad?
Oh, crazy. That's cool. I've
Yeah.
been like not directing her with questions, but like asking her questions just to see certain things like that and haven't gotten anything yet. Um, but that's very cool.
You might have saw when my second was born. I sent the picture of that, but as soon as she came out of the womb, she like put her hands out and was like, "Yeah, I just went into the light. Not again." I was like,
Like a
"Oh,
much quicker
girl,
turnaround time than I was expecting. Yeah.
you got bamboozled."
Yeah, exactly. That's
No, I'm
awesome.
just. So, are you still having time to view plenty or?
I do. So I'm training with
That's
Daz
good.
Smith right now.
Nice.
And so that's been going great. I've been liking his flow style. I've moved from style to style more than what I would recommend and was recommended to me. Um, but it's kind of how I just go about life. So I couldn't stop, you know. But I'm really enjoying flow. Um, but no, I'm kind of a creature of habit, so I need like a good habit timer or something like that. And I've just recently started doing that just to pick out 10, 15 minutes a day to just remote view. Because I've realized I've become too sporadic with it. So I'm trying to hone that in and with the idea of maybe less is more, right? Like I try to, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I have to block off all this time for a session from start to finish. But you can take breaks, you can kind of move around. So I'm doing that to encourage the practice more.
That's typically what I do as well is I have my
Yeah,
routine where first thing I do in the morning is meditate. Last thing before I go to sleep is also meditate. I have those
yeah,
set in
good.
stone. And then I look at my calendar throughout the day and I block at least 15 to 30 minutes out to do a remote viewing session.
There you
And
go.
then if I
Yep.
don't get to make a video or I don't like do some whiteboarding with it or something else, those are the things that kind of fall on the table. They come absolute last. But yeah, like the foundational stuff I always try and make time for.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. I
Yeah.
meditate every day, and carve a little bit of time, usually at night. The mornings are too hectic for me the day I'm working, right? So I would prefer in the morning, but doesn't quite work out.
If I can wake up before the kids, then I get a really good time in. If I wake up
Yeah.
with them, then I'm kind of like rapidly rushing before I hit the office. So
No, she's a morning person and I'm definitely not. So it's not gonna happen for me.
sure.
Not for a while.
Well, what have you learned from learning multiple modalities?
Um, so the reason I kind of floated around a lot is because I wanted to spend a majority of my life doing remote viewing, right? At least in terms of the number of years, like have it be a part of my life, right? And so I figured I wouldn't mind, the advice is pick something, stay with something. That's how you improve. And I back that 100%. And I have evidence of that because I'm the contrary of that, right? I've jumped around a lot. And so my skill level kind of just keeps hovering. Um, but for my personality type, like I knew whatever I found, I'd want to stick with and actually follow that advice, right? So I wanted to taste a little bit of everything. So I was never busy wondering what the other style was or what benefit it had or how it played with how I think and process things. So I've done that. So I think obviously there's been a big pro of that. The downside, obviously, I don't feel like I've had as much of a progress as I could have had in my viewing ability because of that. I've come to find out that A, it doesn't matter which style you choose. You know, people say that, and it's very true, right? It's just communicating with your subconscious mind, figuring out how to kind of translate it and process it in a way that you can put it onto paper without kind of causing issues. Um, and I don't know. So if you stick to those things, you're going to find a lot of great success just sticking with one thing and being methodical about it. But yeah, I've enjoyed kind of floating around. I've tried transdimensional remote viewing. I've tried interactive and HR, um, VG. I've tried XR and now Flow. So I've enjoyed all of them. They all have their benefits. But at the end of the day, yeah, just communicate with your subconscious mind and figure out how to do it and stick with that. Because ultimately, you're training, I believe, your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Okay, sub, this is what I want and how I want you to present the information to me. So it could be entirely visual, or it could be kind of piecemeal, like remote viewing offers. I kind of enjoy the piecemeal kind of version that remote viewing offers because it is data collecting, right? Like you're going there and you're collecting information. With XR, I had very visual experiences. Still, still processing through the conscious filter where there's a bunch of noise in the vision, but sometimes very steady. So it's intriguing to me that you can kind of train your mind. Hey, this is how I want information. But I found with like styles like XR where it's more visual, cool, you might like actually see the target, but I feel like it opens up the opportunity for more noise because, okay, well, describe the event happening and you're seeing it, right? It's so visual and strong. I feel like it's less accurate data versus a truly remote viewing style of just sensing and gathering the data. Then you get the emotions you pick up on all the kind of subjective conceptual pieces of a target that I don't feel like you would necessarily get with a style like XR. So they do all have their benefits, I feel, pros and cons. But at the end of the day, yeah, find something you like, stick with it. It's all the same.
Do you think
Um,
you mentioned that you felt impeded in your progress? Do you think that was from every time you go to another school, you have to kind of start from scratch? So then you're like doing S1 again, and then S2, and then S3,
I think
and
so.
Mhm.
And oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, just because like that's kind of like a reset where you take it back to basics. And I don't know if that did that make you stronger with the basics, or did that feel like you kind of stop whatever progress you had been making?
Yeah, I think it's a lot like associative remote viewing, right? Like you're doing very quick kind of sessions and you can get very accurate information that way, but you are kind of like rewarding your subconscious mind, like, hey, good boy, you gave me the information I needed and you can go away now. I'll come play with you later, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think in that aspect too, starting over with S1, S2, S3 all the time and kind of going back to basics, I think it ended up being kind of a reward system for my brain. Like, hey, like my dopamine levels, right? What am I seeking? I'm seeking more information and new knowledge. I get really into it and I figure out the system and everything. And then I'm like, cool, go to the next one. So I think because of the training your subconscious mind to communicate with you, I think, yeah, it kind of taught it to not do as much of a deep dive, right? Because my experience has been a triangle. The big base and bulk of my experience has been the basic stuff. Only just a small portion of my remote viewing career has it been like the deeper, higher level stuff. Um, so yeah, I'm not too worried about it. um, And because yeah, I'm going to stick with the style and go with that. I do like flow. I think it's going to be that. I think my second favorite would probably be TDRV. I don't know. It's hard to choose. HRVG was really cool too. And XR, all of them. They all have their benefits. And I think you can make a syncretic homunculus with it, right? Like Jet Li style, just or Bruce Lee, not Jet Li, Bruce Lee style, right? Like take what works, keep it, and throw out the rest for you personally, um, and go about it that way. But yeah, I think too. I don't know. It's hard to tell. A bigger aspect of why I've kind of stayed like this is not being as consistent with my viewing. Right? I'll go in spurts, and I guess I'm very like ADHD anyway with my interests. So I'll be like, oh man, remote viewing, and do that for a spurt, and then move on to something else. Like, oh, the gateway experience tapes, like astral
Mhm.
project, oh, lucid dreaming, right? And so I'm just kind of all over the place. And so instead of being like hyper focused on one thing, I'm like a jack of all trades, right? Like kind of good at a lot of stuff, but really kind of sucky at any one thing comparatively, for what I could if I dedicated all that time to just one thing.
I've been making a bunch of documents using ChatGPT just to go, like when I
Yeah.
go investigate something, I use Speechify. And if you
Yes,
comb
you do.
through
Yeah.
all of the books and like you try and go read Manly P. Hall, it's really hard to get what's going on with all this stuff. So we have this beautiful tool now that can go take all this data and
That's
synthesize it
brilliant.
into
Yeah.
these like
Yep.
small reports. And one of
Yep.
the things I'm probably going to end up releasing them at some point. And just because
Cool.
I find them so helpful for myself. And all it is just synthesized, LLM data for these topics. But one of
Yep.
the ways to I talk about tackling it in a thing, and what I thought about it is it's a nested hierarchy. So I look at all of this as intuition practices. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'm in remote viewing, but then there's a lot of we were talking about was training the subconscious. And I got slapped hard by my subconscious. It was like, you are like going to dinner with somebody and never letting me get a word in. So the other half of my time is spent listening to my subconscious without any expectations. So if I
Hmm,
do like an hour
good.
of remote viewing, I got to do an hour of meditation where I'm sitting there in a receptive, open state. So there's this like healthy balance where we're having a conversation. It's not just me like demanding back. And I don't know,
Yep.
that's probably considered a crutch, but I think it's a good idea. But with those docs, it goes down deeper. So for instance, you could get into like alchemy or something, and then you could just read the overview, or you could go further into there into like spiritual
Oh
alchemy.
yeah. Yeah.
And so it mentions certain aspects in there, like if you go into shadow work, right? Like you could just look at the top of shadow work, then you could go into like the Jungian shadow and Dark Night of the Soul and all that. And it allows you to consume as little or as much as you want. So if there's like a
That's
cool
awesome.
topic in one of those, you just like rerun the queries, and
I'd
make it
spend way too much
deeper.
time doing that. Yeah.
So my
That's smart. I
recommendation,
have Chat GPT. I need to do that.
I'll show you him after the
Oh,
after we
please.
hit
Yeah.
stop recording. And my suggestion is to kind of to go do that little hop around, get the big overview of everything. Like
Yeah.
get the overview of Reiki and uh, pretty much everything
Yep.
across the board, and then choose the ones that you really want to go dive deep into.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do a depth first search of the graph every time. You can do breadth for like the first two or three layers. And yeah, like
It's what I need to do. Oh, that's
finally
cool
do a
though.
deep dive in one.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
good job doing that. It's incredible. I've tried ChatGPT trying to like uh, I've tested it, right, to see like what kind of awkward, not awkward, like weird esoteric subject can I search for? And you give me a synopsis. And I was
Dude, I
actually
gotta
doing it
show
with
you
my
this stuff.
dad. I can't wait. I was
Yeah.
doing it with my dad. My dad's a minister, and so it was like my first time was just a week ago. I was showing him Chat GPT, and I'm like, it's insane what you can do, right? And so he started asking about all these like German um, religious philosophers in the 1500s, and yeah, Chat GPT was just spitting it out. It's incredible what it can do. Um, but to kind of touch a pulse of what you're talking about earlier, I do find one thing, right? Like what you said, it's all intuition, right?
Hmm.
All intuition based. It's all aspects of the same thing, right? And so one thing from like trying lucid dreaming to astral projection, remote viewing, hell, even Reiki, a little bit, right? Um, I've noticed just my day-to-day intuition has like incredibly like tenfold improved, right?
Yep.
Just little dumb things. It really amazes me how like, you'll try to get information from a target, maybe you're not hitting it, right? But just throughout the day of just like little things like, oh, something bad's about to happen. And you're like, what? And then something drops or you like knock into something, right? I can't think of any other day-to-day examples right now, but just little things like that, where if you just pay attention and listen to your mind, it does communicate to you throughout the day, right? Everybody's had those experiences of like the phone ringing and you know who it is, or you get the thought of somebody and boom, you get a text message, right? Um, it is really incredible to see how much more of those little aspects of it I have throughout the day. Have you found that
Oh
with your
yeah.
remote viewing practice and everything? It kind of opens up the channel.
I call it the synchronicity machine
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
when I'm pumping, doing really good sessions every day, right? Like hitting really well, there's just synchronicity on synchronicity on synchronicity. Like the
Yeah.
whole day is just a series of synchronicities that kind of happen. And there'll be all these little moments where I say something predictive, but I don't know it's predictive. And then,
Mm,
friends or family will look at me and be like, "How'd you know that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So,
you
yeah.
witch. Yeah.
I had quite a few tonight. It's always
Yeah.
good fun. Yeah. And then my
Awesome.
favorite thing to do is to treat my hand like uh Johnny Depp looking for more rum. So when we lose stuff like
Oh,
keys
yeah.
or whatnot,
Oh, yeah.
I just put my hand out and then kinesthetically it's like a compass. And
Yeah.
then you can
Yep.
feel where
I
something is.
played around
So
with that a little bit. Yep.
yeah. We've looked for hours for car keys and stuff. And then my wife now just instantly will be like, use your willpowers. And I pull out my hand and always within like a
Yo,
minute,
Jedi.
I go
Yeah.
straight to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is incredible. I mean, that's why I'm into it, right? I mean, it's um so many people don't give it a second thought or just they hear the subject and they're like, oh, okay, right? And it's like just pay attention in your own life. Like you just write it off as coincidence, but is it? Like think about it scientifically. Is there a way you can produce more of that? Like can you control it in some way? Can you, and turns out, wow, you can, right? I mean, yeah, just the fact that there's not a lot of people that even care, like if it is a real thing or not, or if they do have a strong feeling one way or the other, or like against it, they're not open to it. I mean, it really kind of slaps you in the face if you pay attention.
Yeah. That really hints on the what I was talking about, not asking questions all the time. Because I remember when I would go into my meditation and I would get like, you're not listening. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm doing all this remote viewing and I'm,
All I
putting
do is
my
listen.
hands into the refrigerator and asking you to choose which type of milk for my coffee. And I'm doing a tarot reading every day and recording the results. I'm asking you a ton of questions and I'm listening. It's like, well, that's not listening when
Yeah,
it always
yeah,
has to be what you want to talk about. And as soon as
yeah.
I made that time, I made that space, that's when the synchronicities and the
Hmm.
random intuitive knowing just kicked down the door and started coming in a huge wave. Because it was like, oh, if I do send this right now, he's gonna listen. He'll hear it.
Yeah, yep,
Where before, when it's like he'll only listen when he asks.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a important distinction. I need to remember that, but it's true.
Well, I
So how
think
did you
in
get
yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think in remote viewing, we really think in terms of how do we train our subconscious. And now I'm looking at it as like a two-way street where it's like I need to train it a little bit for my three-dimensional boxed reality. And
Mm,
I also need to like learn how it communicates. So that can go into some of what Josh has mentioned. He has that post on AOL and
oh yeah, yep.
symbology where you get a big AOL and now I look at it as like a data packet. And when I go deconstruct it, I'm like, oh wow, there's a bunch of info here about the target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So I start getting more stuff like that in my sessions now.
do you? Okay.
Yeah, where I'll get like a big, clear AOL, and it's not like this is the target. It's like
Mm.
it's a lot, it's a rhyme. This big complex thing
I
rhymes
guess
with
I
the
know what you're
target.
talking about. Yeah, it's kind of like that for me.
Yeah.
Um, I think I know what you're saying. Basically, like not an AOL is like a concept or maybe a noun that you're using, but just a larger concept of an AOL, kind of a
It's like
nebulous little.
I wanted to send you 5 pieces of information
Mhm.
using one
Yeah,
thing.
concept.
Yeah. So I'm
Well,
communicating very difficultly here rather than listing out 5 things for you to listen to. I'm
correct.
just
Yeah.
giving you one with
Yeah.
all the
You deal
stuff in
with
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been thinking more about kind of like the Prudence Calabrese philosophy, right? Of just, hey, every piece of data you get is accurate. You just have to
Mhm.
suss out what it is, right? Or either it's something like that, a conglomerate of concepts kind of thrown into one. Like, hey, if like first thing that comes to mind, I list these 5 things. What's the first animal that comes to mind? You'll think of something, right? And I feel
Mhm.
like sometimes it's like that. You'll get like the animal, and it's like what as a loose concept example, right? So I'm trying to appreciate the idea that she suggests that everything is accurate. It is good data. You just have to suss it out, right? And be a little bit more forgiving with my subconscious versus like, man, you gave me that. Like you're killing me. If you can give me a car, why can't you give me a boat? It was a boat. Don't give me a car, right? Um, but yeah, it's an interesting little like song and dance, right? The subconscious trying to suss out what it gives you, learn to play nice with it, learn how it talks, how you talk. Um, yeah, it's really interesting. How did you get in like into all of this?
Like all the weird woo stuff.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you started off like me, just a kind of a materialist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I was a snarky atheist.
yeah, yeah.
Like a
The best
super
kind. Yeah,
materialist.
yeah.
Read all of the Richard Dawkins books
Yep.
and Christopher
Yeah,
Hitchens and all of that. But
yep.
I also was enthralled with Nick Bostrom's simulation theory back in I
Mm,
think like 2003 when it came out. So I was
okay.
13 years old at the time, probably posting
Yep.
a lot
Okay.
on above topsecret.com. I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
not sure if that's still around.
I don't
And
know either. Yeah.
we started looking for glitches in the Matrix. So I was already
Oh.
doing some coding and I was thinking if this is a simulation, which due to that postulate, it probably is, then
Hmm.
surely something's probably going wrong. So we
Right.
had a bunch of fun with that. And then
Okay.
that eventually turned into the Mandela effect, as you know.
Yep.
And that
Oh yeah.
whole time with the Mandela effect, I was paying attention. So I
Mm,
saw Fruit Loops flip back and forth. I
yeah.
saw
Right.
Hillary Clinton's name flip back and forth. I
Yep.
saw so many different things. And then the biggest thing that I see today still that I think a lot of people don't see is I see them around me. There's a house on the corner over here in my neighborhood that
Mm.
goes between being dirty stucco and being fresh cleaned. So I pointed it out to some people and they're like, that is so it's I swear that they just pressure washed it last week and now it's dirty again. And I'm
That
like, yeah,
homeowner every night is like, son of a bitch. Okay.
it switches back and forth.
Yeah.
And there's all these personal celebrity deaths that happen. I remember a
Mm,
friend from high school, their dad all of a sudden was at their wedding. And I was like, dude, his dad died in high school for sure. And the more
mm,
you notice those things, the more they kind of start
hmm.
to go on that. But how I actually got into this stuff is I always look to remote viewing, even in my teenage years and stuff, saying that if I ever was going to believe something, it would be that because that's the scientific basis.
Fair.
And so I was interested in remote viewing, which I thought you had to go spend $15,000 in 2 weeks' time to go in person. So
Yep.
as a
Yep.
teenager, couldn't do that.
Yeah. Mm,
Astral projection, which I picked up. This will come a bit later. I picked up lucid dreaming first. So I started lucid dreaming in high school and got really
yeah.
proficient at that.
Yeah.
By the time I was 25, I couldn't not have a lucid dream. So every
Oh,
time that I
wow.
would dream, I would have a lucid dream.
That's awesome.
Not awesome. This last year, I untrained myself to lucid dream be-
Hilarious.
because of that whole thing where if you're trying to listen to your subconscious, now I've just shut down my subconscious again and said, what you were going to show me in a dream isn't important. I'm going to run the show.
Oh, my
So
wife is going to watch this and love you. because she's
Really?
like, you shouldn't lucid dream. It's messing with the natural order of the, and I'm like, it's fine. It's it's okay. It's my
I've
brain.
I've been going through it. I mean, I went from ENTJ to ISFP the last 2 years, right?
God
The
damn. Yeah.
completely
Okay.
inverted.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everything I was doing where I was in control of my dreams,
Yeah.
now I've have some grounding sheets, and every night I'm like having these crazy dreams that I'm not in control of. And if I become lucid, I instantly slap it away and I'm like, no, let me watch the
Yeah.
show. This is
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm having
Yeah.
fun right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It
my
was
big
crazy.
one, I'm still doing my origin story. It's a very long one. My
No,
big one
good.
was I had a dorm room that was super creepy that I moved into when I was 18, 19 for college. And I swear that room was haunted. There was
Yeah.
a door where, the doors that are too old, so it like you have to like shut it with your arm.
Mm,
You had to
hmm.
like put your arm into this door to get it to close, and it would open and close. And I had beer cans flying off the desk, and the pipes must have been old because the water kept turning on and stuff. And yeah, it was probably haunted. So from there, I kind of deep dove. That's when I picked up Robert Bruce's Astral Dynamics, and I sustained on that for about 10 years,
I kind of like
where
him the best. Yeah. He was my first
oh,
of astral projection. Yeah.
those
Got
techniques,
several of his books back there.
the best. I probably bought like 50 copies of Astral Dynamics and given it out now.
Good.
But he has all those practical exercises about like tactile body awareness, how to get your focus onto a point, how to get into mind awake, body asleep, and then move that awareness outside your body.
Yeah.
And then probably in my early 20s, I could afford to buy the gateway tapes. So I purchased those, and I never wanted to download them illegally because I figured that somebody could be messing with the waves. Like the entire
Right.
point is to
Now I'm a Russian sleeper cell. Like, yeah,
I don't
you never
know.
know.
I
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing, but like, why would somebody go do that? That's what people do in malware is
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
release free software that's not actually free. There's some nefarious purpose behind
That's
it.
fair.
So
Yeah.
I figured that was true with the tapes. So all throughout my 30 or 20s and even to today, I still listen to one gateway tape a day, probably.
Oh, wow.
That's yeah.
Good.
And I use those Robert Bruce techniques and go wild with it.
Yeah.
But
Hell yeah.
I'd say for most of my 20s, I wasn't sure if it was real or not. I more was like, it's a real experience. I'm really experiencing this, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It's not like I think any less of Bruce Willis because I saw Armageddon and it's fake. I really
Right.
watched Armageddon
Still a
and it's
cool experience. Yeah.
yeah.
It made me
And
cry. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think realizing that it's all actually real, or in some sense, the psychic stuff really came these last couple of years doing remote viewing. That's when I
Hmm.
think stuff went over from extreme interest and hacking the simulation to, okay, now I'm open to the whole shebang bang of things that we're doing.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah.
How
That's my
cool.
origin story. Thanks for coming to my TED
Yeah.
Talk.
You're right though. Yeah. Oh,
How
that's
about you?
cool. Actually, kind of oddly similar, like
Hmm.
this a little bit. So yeah, like I mentioned, my dad's a minister. Never grew up in like a super religious home in terms of like we never said grace every night. If I had like an issue with something, he was never like, all right, let's see what Luke 2:14 says, right? And it was just like, okay, well, what should we do about this? And very, a really great dad. So he wasn't overbearing at all. Um, but I was very afraid, right? Christianity, hell, heaven is very stressful, right?
Mhm.
And so I started when I was 19, I started dating this Vietnamese girl. And she was an atheist. And just like any good Christian, I'm like, I have to save her soul, right? So I knew her, and I knew the only way to do it would be to logically convince her that God was real. So I started reading Richard Dawkins and all of that stuff, right? And like reverse Uno card, it was like, oh shit, there is no God, right? Like I'm the wrong one, right? And so I had like a huge existential crisis of just like, holy shit, this is it. Like, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to close that. I think my camera was about to shut off. Um, but yeah, so anyway, it totally backfired, had a huge existential crisis. And so then I was like, well, my God, I need to know if there is an afterlife, right? I'm like kind of freaking out about the whole thing. So I realized like if there's ghosts, and I thought that there was because growing up, I lived in a haunted house. So kind of like your college experience, right?
Hmm.
So when I was like 13, 14, 15, lived there and you would hear the back door open up and shut and then footsteps on the linoleum, my dad would get up thinking somebody was in the house. And just weird experiences like that. But it was like, I can kind of explain these things, right? And um, so then I really wanted to see it, right? And and know for sure. So I got a group of my buddies together. We rented out Waverly Hills Sanitarium down in Louisville, Kentucky. And it's supposed to be one of the most haunted places in America, rented out the whole facility. So I'm like, if there's
That's
dead
awesome.
people, we're gonna see it here, right? And did. I saw full body shadow people. Um one was a little boy. My
Wow.
buddy was walking towards us, and you could see the little boy sticking out behind him, go in front of him and block his view so you could see it was a 3D black mass, right?
Hmm.
And he didn't experience anything. He didn't see anything. And so it was really incredible. And had a spontaneous out of body experience kind of shortly after that. I was laying in bed, wide awake. My girlfriend, she wanted to take a nap. I didn't. So I was just kind of like laying there, just like wide awake, right? And I feel her entire mobile home start shaking. And I thought there was construction going on outside. And so I turn and look at her to be like, oh my God, she's going to wake up. And I like phase out of my head so I could see the side of my face. And I wasn't scared or anything. I was more like, wait, what? Like, just like the whole thing was just confusing, right? And then I snapped back in. And so I went home that night and just Googled like stuff, trying to figure out what it was. And that's when I found out, oh, astral projection's a thing, out of body experience is a thing. Robert Monroe, like everybody, I started reading and getting more into that. And I think I saw like a 60 Minutes one time, and they were talking about remote viewing. And that was about when I was like 13, 14. And I
Hmm.
remember thinking at that time, if that stuff's real, I want to do that someday. But just like you, I'm like, oh,
Same.
it's thousands of dollars, right? But it stayed with me all those years. And so here, like 5 years ago, um, I forget, yeah, maybe Reddit or something. I was like looking around and I'm like, oh yeah, remote viewing. Oh yeah, I'm an adult with money now. I can do whatever I want. I'm gonna do that. And so started training in it, and rest is kind of history.
That's me
Hey,
too. As
I'm
soon
sorry.
as, yeah, go for it.
I'm sorry, man. Can we pause for just a second if you're able to
Sure.
like cut that part out?
Yeah.
My
Do you want me
kid's screaming
to?
her head
Oh,
off.
yeah, go for it.
Um, eh, I'm sorry. Give me like 3 minutes. She'll be pretty good once I get her
Yeah,
settled. I'll be right back.
we're back. I just showed you the super secret
Yeah,
documents, which are just the 3 or 4 prompts in ChatGPT, right? Copied to a Word document with some
incredible.
nice font.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you guys don't know what you're missing. Um,
Well, hopefully they don't have to
that's
miss it for
very
much
cool.
longer. I just need to get the time to
Correct.
go polish it up and share it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's incredible what you can make anymore with a web presence, something like ChatGPT aiding you. And I mean, oh my God, the next 5 to 10 years are just going to be incredible.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what comes to pass of how it can be useful for remote viewing. It's not an original thought, but
Well, I have
uh,
this idea that the collection of that work that I want to release is
mhm.
basically like the flower of life. And each circle, each of those 64 circles in there is something like remote viewing or Reiki or alchemy or shadow work or magic and
Yeah.
mysticism or chaos magic. Like there's a piece in the puzzle. And to me, they're all rhyming. They're all talking about the same
Oh
universal
yeah.
truths. Doesn't
Yep.
matter if I go to Christianity or, Sufi mysticism, they're all kind of hitting on the same stuff to me now.
Oh,
So
100%.
I feel
Yep.
like what's missing is there isn't something that connects it all together into one framework that encourages it. It's if you go
Mm.
into one thing like remote viewing, it's like you unblinded yourself. That's not remote viewing. Go talk to the
Yeah.
5D light
You're a
check
sinner.
children. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yep.
if you go talk to
Yep.
them and like you want to add blinding, they're like, go talk to the remote viewing folks. You're not one of us. So I really
Yes.
think that there's probably, I would like to be part of a group. And this is where you had just mentioned a collective
Hmm.
that is just open to all this stuff. I do
Yep.
everything under the sun from remote viewing to tarot to unblind intuition stuff to playing with evidential mediumship, all of it. And I love all of it. Yeah, I don't want to take off a cap and be like, I'm taking off my remote viewing cap and putting on, this other cap. I just want to be like, that's just who I am. I'm just continue. I'm Dave 2, still doing intuition
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
No, yeah, I feel like people in each modality, whatever you want to call it, lucid dreaming or remote viewing, Reiki, they all have like a type, right? They feel like they have to conform to a certain kind of ideal. Yeah, these are my guidelines. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. I don't want to
Hmm.
mess with anything else like that. I I find all of this stuff, right? It is just fragments of reality. It's just how reality works. So I'd like to see the mysticism aspect of it removed, right? If we're able to do remote viewing in a semi-scientific manner, right? And I say semi because the greater scientific community doesn't even recognize it, right? But you can be scientific about it. I'd like to see that with the other modalities, right? Lucid dreaming, like let's get an action plan of things to test, things to try. It's just a lot of people in their own homes kind of experimenting. And it is a personal path, right? It is very subjective and can be very powerful and very personal. Um, but I think just because it can be that way, it doesn't have to be. You could be open about it, talk about it. We were talking about Quoria during the break. It's amazing what she's
Phenomenal.
done. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And it's taken Western occult uh, elements of it, right? And provided it open so it's no longer a cult and hidden knowledge. It's free and open to anybody who wants to take the path. And I think people are kind of holed up with the old school way of thinking of like, hey, I'm going to be ridiculed. I'm going to not be taken seriously. I need to stick to my cloister of people who I can talk to and it fragments and tribalizes the concepts. We do need
Definitely.
more of a cohesive, hey, no, it's just explaining reality, but a reality most people don't even consider, right?
That's,
Um,
I mean, that is kind of what I think mysticism is
yeah.
it's the exploration of trying to understand what reality is.
Oh,
But
yes,
in like
yes.
the mystery schools and stuff, they still want you to go do something. They don't want you
Mhm.
to just read it and accept it at face value as dogma. They will say something and then they want you to go try some sort of
Mm.
experiment and then validate for yourself to go see it.
Fair. Yeah.
And I think that's why I
Yeah.
like all of the mystery schools, is
Yeah.
because all of them are very practical in that regard. And
Oh,
they're
yeah. It's
not
like
just
Buddhism. Yeah.
saying dogma stuff where, this is the way it is. It's we're going to make this claim and then here's how you can go test it yourself. And yeah, it's a fun journey to go down. But
It really is. And it is a good
mhm,
idea to have that practical, like it's not about belief, right? I don't
mhm,
believe the weird things I believe. I know the weird things I know, right? Like I don't believe that there's astral projection. I know it, right? Like I don't believe you can become lucid in a dream. I know it. I don't believe you can remote view. And it cracks me up. People like on Reddit, right? Where it's like, oh, that stuff's fake. Like it's just people trying to take your money.
mhm.
And so it's like you can go to our remote viewing, look up how to do it for free. People are giddy about it, talking to you about it. Like they'll teach you if you're not a jackass, right? Like, um,
Well, there's
yeah,
the
it's
the burden
accessible.
of a proof thing where with UAPs, people keep saying, how come there isn't a clear video of a UAP? Because every clear video of a UAP, you don't believe.
Yeah,
Every time that a remote viewer hits a target, you don't believe it.
yeah,
You
right.
so the only way
Correct.
that those people are ever going to cross the threshold and come over to our side is if they hit a target themselves. If
Yes,
they shock and wow
100%.
themselves and run the experiment,
Yep.
then they'll become believers.
That's why I continue to remote view, even though not every single session is a hit,
Hmm.
right? any scientific person would look at that and be like, well, it's not a hit because statistically, you're going to have some hits and you're going to not, right? Like it's statistics, man. But
Ah,
when you
James
have a,
Randi.
right, though, he ruined it for everybody. But when you have a hit, it's not just a hit. Like you were spot on about so much. And even when you don't have a hit, you're still spot on about so much, right? Some of my best sessions were in training, right? Like the Ark of the Covenant. One was a UFO, right? And the detail I got um, was just, it was so compelling to me that it keeps me through the times where I have, like, you plateau and then maybe dip a little bit before you go to the next level in skill.
Hmm.
And those ebbs and flows, it keeps me going because it's just so incredible. It's very apparent how real it is.
I think when you see those things that wake you up, that's the you can't put the cat back in the bag. You've
No,
opened Pandora's box. I
yeah.
remember I was just doing we call them micro targets with Michael, and we
Mhm.
just kind of text each other back and forth throughout the day.
Oh, cool.
And I think his last one he sent me was holding a flashlight in a car, just like a little mini flashlight thing. And then the next one he sent me, I posted it to YouTube, the you session, which he just the tasking was you, meaning me. So the session before, it's just there's a structure and it's black and it's boring and stuff. And then the other one, I'm like, I'm off on this fantastical
Like,
journey with
what
these
is,
like
yeah.
5 crazy aspects of reality in this and breaking out of the simulation. And this is crazy. And that sort of thing where you just went from describing 20 minutes ago from describing a little structure and then him revealing a little flashlight to this fantastical story about yourself
A human
and
life.
who
Yeah.
you are on a very deep level. That's the
Yeah.
stuff that I don't know. I can't unsee that. It's like seeing a ghost in college.
Oh, yeah. My experience for that was George Washington was a session. And I got, for whatever reason, and I don't typically, but I got a lot of detail about what drove this individual that I was targeting and what motivated them and everything. And to find out it was George Washington with all the other hits that I got made me feel like my emotional and kind of character aspects that I received were fairly accurate, right? And I was so on target about
Mhm.
everything. And just to think like, wow, even when you read a history book, right? Like you don't get that side of George Washington. Like I may have gotten pieces of George Washington that his own friends didn't get, right?
Mhm.
Because he kept it close to his chest and everything. But to pull that, like, it's really incredible. A little scary at times too. But
I named viewing a specific psychic in session. I said their name, and their advice to me was that I just said this on another podcast the other day that their advice to me was that I'm popping around all these spots like a rookie. I need to put on some protection, and they showed me the Monroe
mm,
Institute Reball,
oh,
and
yep,
I now toss that on all the time, and I haven't had any ill effects viewing since then.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find myself naive at times in terms of there's a lot of in a cult where they talk about shielding and grounding and things like that, where I'm still stuck on my materialist point of view of like, yeah, but do you really need that? Has anybody done a study on that? Has there been an A/B split test? Right. And I was talking to Josephine McCarthy, who does Quoria,
Oh, you were,
right?
that's
And
awesome.
not like talking to her just on Reddit, right? She has no
Hmm.
idea who I am. And she slapped some sense into me of like, hey, like people have done this for hundreds of years before you, you know. They all of their experience coalesced to these instructions. You need to do X, Y, Z, or you're gonna have a really bad time.
Hmm.
Who are you to basically kind of throw all that away? But I think it is important. We don't do that in remote viewing, right? We're very like willy-nilly, like, oh man, I'm not at the target. I'm just collecting information. I'm safe. But it got me thinking, are we? Do we need certain more kind of occult aspects? Are we playing with kind of fire here because we're so young with remote viewing, right? Since the 70s, even though it's a skill that goes back thousands of years, right? But are we a little naive with
Well,
our tool?
that's the hole that Ingo wrapped up occult knowledge and marketed it with a scientific term for the US
Hmm.
government to
Yep.
purchase and buy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't look at it as stages and remote viewing. I look at it as there's ideograms, there's autonomic movements, which is like automatic writing. The S2 to me is go execute all the clairs. And at any point that you're trying to see or hear or smell, taste, touch, you could also get clairsentience, right?
Mm.
Where you just get a sense of knowing that pops in the door.
Hmm.
And then here's the different types of probes you should go do. Here's how to break it down to things that are tangible and what the intangibles are, how to break it down. It's really just a method of going through and doing all of it. Where when I look at other intuitive spaces, they'll say, I'm a clairvoyant, I see things. So they're not even probing to try and get the other senses involved, right?
Mm. Yep. Yep.
Or
Correct. Yeah.
if you toss on mediumship, I guess I'm going to get myself in trouble because I don't know that much about it. But if they're only trying to talk to spirit in a particular way and read symbology, then they're not running all the other probes. There's so many other
Mm.
probes that could be
Oh
performed.
yeah.
So I just look at each one of those as an individual tool and remote viewing as the combining them into a particular subset together. That's why I
That's
don't think
fair.
I'm married to TRV or
Yeah.
anything. I'm not just sitting there willy-nilly running through whatever pops into my head, right? I'm like have a big collection of tools that I know how to perform. And then as I'm going, I know when to pull out each tool for the job.
No, I think it's important to have a broad knowledge of the topic because of that, right? Um, Going real quick, you got me interested about the mediumship.
Yeah.
I've often wondered, I know we're coming up on time here, but I've often wondered, is it mediumship in the sense that you are speaking with a spirit, or are you just doing remote viewing? It's your own psi ability, and you are personifying it as an external entity of which you're receiving information. Is that just how you're training your subconscious mind? Hey, give it to me, but as a dead person. you know?
I'm not sure because I'm sure you know that we did this stuff in our thing, but we can be like conjure up an expert right here and place them in my hand, and now
Hmm.
I will have a conversation with a LLM basically that can give me all the information about the target, right?
Cortana. Yeah.
And I can make that thought form thing in my head and it works for some reason, right? I'm not sure if that's what they're really doing or not.
Right.
I really don't know. I do know that if you want data to come in a certain way and you ask for it, it will come in that way.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think obviously the human mind is an amazing thing. We're just scratching the surface, really, as a society on what it can do. And yeah, it's just incredible that you can do that. If you, um, like, I'm not a Christian, but I do like the concept of what Jesus said of like, hey, if you believe that you can move a mountain, like you can. You just have to know you can do it, right? You can totally do it. And I don't know about a mountain, right? But this consensus reality is pretty stable. But certain things like that you can. I mean, I truly believe at the end of the day, the framework of reality is consciousness. We are in a simulation. It's not a computer of humans. It's really the year 5000 and we're in a computer. I think it's all just consciousness, right? The Buddhists were right, the Hindus were right, all the ancient like mystery schools were right. And
If you
because of
take
that,
the,
we have
the
some amazing abilities.
if you take the Neville Goddard impression of the Bible
Oh
and
yeah,
the Gnostic
big
point of view, that's
great point.
Christ consciousness. We're saying that the same thing.
Yeah,
John 1
yeah,
1, in the beginning
yeah,
was the word, right?
yeah,
What
yeah,
is word? A
absolutely, man.
thought. Our thoughts create reality.
Yeah, yeah. But amen to that.
And I think that's where I get into thinking about how the brain works with the neocortex and like some of the reasons why I wear an eye mask or earplugs and stuff is I try and get those ideal conditions where I limit that data. Just today, I had somebody message me
Mm,
that they were wearing an eye mask and they had all these subtle visual impressions coming through. I was like, well,
mm,
imagine being outside on a sunny day in August,
mm.
trying to view a movie on your phone that's on the lowest brightness.
Yeah,
You
fair.
have this subtle impression that's coming through. The best way to do is give yourself total darkness, or trying to hear an old lady whisper to you at an AC/DC concert. It's
Yeah.
not going to work. So eliminate all those distractions, and then that will allow those impressions to come in and override your other senses. But the thing that's still unclear to me is where is that data coming from and how
Mm,
does it make it into that neocortex flow and hit my pattern recognition machine that it actually gets consciously processed. I don't know
yeah.
where that is. I don't know if it's using the same visual path. If I have to literally relearn to see again,
Mm,
I, from the materialist worldview, what neurons are being used to create this experience for me? Is it the same
yeah.
ones as my eyes, or is it a
Right.
different one?
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's the boxing and unboxing that happens with the data, I think, where if it
Mm,
really is just etheric vibrations of energy and stuff, and we're able to sense that at a distance, that still has to get rendered by our conscious brain,
correct.
our physical body, in order for us
Correct.
to experience it.
Yeah. And I think even if you could pinpoint it, like, okay, all right, I admit there's something to this remote viewing. All right. But
Yeah.
damn it, it's still materialist, right? And I think you'll still be able to pinpoint, like, yeah, which synapses are firing off, which individual neurons. At some point, we will, right? We'll figure it out. But I don't think that really kind of solves the deeper mystery, right? That like that's the how, but I think it stops. Science only gets you so far at
Mhm.
times, right? And I think that is kind of a break. Beyond that, then it becomes the subjective and the personal of, well, with all my experiences combined, it's not just the synapses firing, it's how our meat suit is integrating into the greater reality. And
Yep.
like you said, yeah, at some point it's passing into our mind. If we're aware of it, it's hitting our computer, right?
Mhm.
But I think yeah, with everything being consciousness, it really does explain that. It's just like being in a dream, knowing something that's going on over there in the dream. Well, yeah, because you're the dreamer. How did that information get to that, that scene over there that you haven't even seen with your dream eyes yet? How did it get to your mind and you know what's going on? Oh, it's such a mystery. No, it's not. You're the dreamer, right? Like,
Mhm.
um, but opens up some interesting philosophical, like
That's
solipsism and stuff like that. And
we just opened Pandora's box.
I know it.
Remote viewing leads you to those
It does.
conclusions.
It does.
And
Yeah.
then is remote viewing going to take up your whole day, or there's a whole big wide world of intuitive stuff out there
Yep.
that says this type
100%.
of thing. That's why I think we jump around so much.
It's hard not to. No, that's for sure.
I think it's good. That's
Yeah.
what I was actually kind of wondering on the tools aspect is I'm always looking to build another tool and
Hmm.
then I integrate it into mine. So to me, I'm not like, this is the way I'm doing in a technical remote viewing. I'm saying I have this collection of tools and yeah, I'm always willing to get another tool in the toolbox. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be tarot cards, right? Don't
Yep.
care. It's another
Yep.
intuitive thing that I could bring in.
Oh yeah.
Um, I was wondering, are you building up that list having gone through other methodologies, and then you are planning on like bringing a couple of them back?
Yeah, I'm never gonna stop exploring, right? Like it is interesting. I've actually, because of the Quoria course, started their specific meditations
Hmm.
and learning the tarot. Um, I find that in this realm, fear really holds you back, right? And I think because of my Christian upbringing, like the tarot was very off-putting, right? And so I realized even though logically, I don't think that there's a Christian God, right? Because of my experiences, I don't think that there's a Christian God. But there's still some of those leftover hangovers from my personal conditioning, right? And one of that's tarot. And I feel like in any of this intuitive stuff, you got to break down the fear, right? And that's how you get to kind of the next level. You got to break down the fear. And you may not think that there's any fear, right? Like I don't not touch tarot cards because I'm afraid of them. It's the devil, right? But there's some innate subconscious fear. And since we're working with the subconscious, that fear matters, however subtle it may be. So that's specifically why I started Quoria. Um, like the kind of occult kind of magic with the K, kind of work with angels and demons and that kind of power,
Hmm.
spooky shit, right? Like I don't like it, right? And I'm not going to summon demons or anything. I think it's okay to have healthy boundaries, right? And that's kind of one of mine. But little things, the tarot and things like that, and just getting used to it, reading about it, becoming aware of it, understanding it, right? You fear that which you don't understand. And then to experience it is just a deeper understanding, right? So I'm always going to explore things like that. And to bring it in specifically to remote viewing, um, I'm not sure if I will integrate or what aspects of things like that I will integrate. Um, I think, like you, I find it a tool as part of the whole tool belt. Um, you don't try to make a saw and bring it into the hammer. It's okay having a hammer be a hammer, saw being a saw. Uh, but yeah, just continuing to learn different things and explore with it and decrease my fear levels, right? Even though I'm not a fearful person and I'm not afraid of it, there's that subconscious conditioning still. And I think it's important to get past that.
That would be funny too. You're doing like a live session, screen sharing with people or on video, and like you get to stage seven, like you're doing stage seven, is that phonetics? And you pull out your tarot deck and are like,
Yeah.
nope, you'll do a reading right now.
Correct. Yeah. It's like all the people that get to the final stages of Scientology and they're like, wait, that was the final fucking stage. We're all Xenu. That was the secret, right? Yeah.
That's funny.
It's
And
all good fun. I love it. The big thing that keeps me coming back to remote viewing too is just I find that it is a tool to pick at reality and see how it works, right? Like why can you remote view the past? Why can you remote the future? What does that tell you about how reality works? I think, like, don't get me wrong, CERN, the Hubble, we need that stuff, right? We
Mhm.
need a little robot on Mars picking at rocks. Um, but there's a lot more to reality that you can't explore with a robot on Mars, right? You need things like remote viewing, I feel, to pick to figure out how does time work? Why are certain things easier and other things not? It's a really fucking fascinating tool. And people just dismiss it as kind of like a party trick or like, oh yeah, maybe the government did it. And it's like, oh man, no, this is like you can do this in your basement and poke at reality and figure out how it works in ways that nobody else has been able to do, right? And that's part of like my idea for a collective is to document that stuff, to create experiments, to poke at it, reality, and figure out how it works. And specifically to document it. People do it every day in their basement, like
Mhm.
me, but it's not organized. I think we could use more organization in this kind of realm. I think humans could go very far.
We somewhat try. So
We
if
do.
you've seen, I started the underground Discord, which is our super secret private Discord that
Yes.
we don't talk about. And the reason why I did it is like there's projects in there, there's targets, and then if everybody just goes through and starts doing targets, then eventually you just get an organic project out of it. So if somebody's just looking for
We need
something to
more of that.
do, yeah,
Yep.
here we go in there, you can run it. But that's just remote viewing stuff. And I don't know if you've poked in there at all, but I've expanded it with like a bunch more channels and everyone's
Have you?
like
Okay.
talking about a bunch of stuff. But there could be other experiments in there that we could go run. Like Jeff does these
I,
awesome aura readings all the time.
oh
Someone's
yeah.
going to be doing a live evidential mediumship seminar thing tomorrow night on it.
No joke. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I should
cool.
be talking about this because nobody's getting an invite. So but
Oh yeah.
it's
Here I was
it's a
talking about
private.
knowledge being open, and it's like, yeah, fuck you guys. That's so
Well,
cool.
I think
I haven't been
there's
able to be on Discord much lately, so I've been missing out.
everyone knows that everybody has like a private playground, right? Like a
Oh yeah.
private spot where you go do your work.
Yep.
And
Yep.
whenever you get three or four people talking together in a group, they're like, cool, let's start a group chat. That's
Yep.
just our group chat.
Yep.
It's it's just everybody who's kind of like working on the stuff just kind of pops in.
Like-minded people and yep.
Yeah. And sometimes they don't pop in, sometimes they pop in more and
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, if you stick around long enough somewhere, like you'll get invited to a super secret group like that. So
Oh yeah. No, and it's not that hard. The biggest rule is don't be a dick, right? Like that's
Oh, let me see if I can pull this up. The name The Underground actually comes from something that is very inclusive of this, but it hints at I put it on the Facebook version. It hints at why everything is so disconnected. In his books, Robert Monroe talked about the existence of a psychic underground. The term refers to a loosely connected network of individuals who possess or practice psychic abilities such as remote viewing, telepathy, out-of-body travel, or other forms of consciousness expansion.
awesome.
But that's what he's
I didn't
saying is
realize
that
that's where
there's
yeah.
a psychic underground it doesn't actually exist. But as soon
Hmm.
as you become part of it, you start meeting people and networking, you get invited to those group chats, you
Yeah.
start working on that stuff in private,
That's
then
what
that's where the fun stuff
amazes me,
happens.
right? It's more people than you would realize.
It's a lot.
Like when you really get talking to people about their beliefs or things that they're interested in, you realize like I think the people who think against it are in the minority. They're so vocal about it, right? Of
Well,
course
remote viewing's this small subset, and then you go to
oh my
like
God,
Next Level
yeah.
Soul podcast, they'll be talking about the same thing, but with another model over top of it, and they'll get
Mm,
345,000 views in a day.
yeah. Yep, yep,
So,
yep.
so that's where
Yep,
I'm
yep.
thinking less of what I do is remote viewing and more of it as just general intuitive practice.
Yep.
Because
I
I
think
think
the
that's the
same.
thing I've always said is we're psychic. We're the
Hmm.
ones who are doing that, right? And these are the tools that like we learn and
Yeah.
go execute.
Yep.
But yeah.
No, I'm the same. I'm really amazed at the human mind. Like
Hmm.
it is at the end of the day, like the most advanced machinery in the known universe. And we don't explore it enough of what we're able to do. And if you do take the time, it's really incredible.
Well, obviously we're going and exploring it. I think it's
Well,
the
yeah,
midlife crisis,
encouraging people.
33 years of age thing where when that hits, everything kind of just opens for you and you can go
Just make sure
do
it's
it.
not your midlife. You don't want to die at 66.
No. It's my quarter life crisis.
My quarter life crisis. Yeah. 100%.
That's funny.
Well, cool, man.
Yeah,
Well,
this is great.
I've had a blast. I should probably get going here and I know
Same.
you got to get off, but um yeah, I had a great time talking to you, man.
Thanks, dude. You too.
Keep up the good work and yeah, if you get any hot secret squirrel tips about remote viewing, don't keep them so secret from me.
I think I post and share pretty much everything. I do have that disclosure agreement document where it's the opposite of an NDA.
Yeah.
And the problem is that releasing stuff comes last.
Yeah.
Got to keep the
I know how that
foundations.
goes.
We're in the
Yeah.
busy period. We got kids,
Yep.
like
Oh my God,
we
yes.
got full-time jobs and
Yep.
stuff, life responsibilities. So
It's rough. Yep.
yeah.
Well, cool, man. Well,
Thanks
you
so
take
much.
care.
Yeah.
I love you.
Love
Peace
you
out.
too. See you, dude.
All right. See you.